Hey folks, welcome back to Tarot with a Twist. Anyway, I'm Kev, in case you haven't known. I don't say that a lot of time. I probably should, but I get so caught up in just reading or doing teaching or something, I just forget that, right? But what this is going to be about is a quick update on three things. One is the website, two is the channel, and three is a way of reading. Okay, a little tutorial. I'll throw it in here, right? And we'll start off with this book here called Read Like the Devil. It's on Lenormand only. So if you like the Lenormand and you want to learn a little bit more, I picked the book up because it also kind of goes along with how I read the Marseille. It's all about the function. Basically, throw the keywords away because they're kind of a joke. And why do I say that? People are gonna be like, why can you say that? Because who the hell made them up? So if I'm going to read cards, I don't want to read what you thought. I want to read what I'm seeing. And I'm not going to be able to do that if I keep going off of keywords, right? Anyway, let's get to that in a second. We're first going to go to the update. Well, on my website, link going everywhere. On my website on Tarot with a Twist, wordswithatwist.com, I have the members and I have something called the insiders, right? Which you all know. You hear me say that quite a bit. And the members, I've changed it to where now it's like I said, it doesn't cost anything. It never did. But if you want to say, ask a question for my last Ask the Card series, you can do that. Just log in, ask the question, and I will read it. Now I'm also kind of adding a little more video on that. So before it was strictly all written like a flash mini read or something, but now it's going to be kind of more on some of them actually video, which I'll share on YouTube and kind of how I read it, my thought process, and adding on to the question, which I didn't do during the initial writing of it. And then I have something for the insiders called the priority queue, where a person can ask a question, right? And it can be on anything, not just let's ask the cards type of a thing. And I'll read that on YouTube as well. And then the secondary thing I have is a monthly thing for insider members only. So if, let's say, you are stuck on a certain reading or there's a spread you're stuck on, you want help with it, what you would do if you're an insider, you would go there to the portal, log in, fill in the information about your question, your whatever it is, and then upload the pictures of your spread if you have that. I will then do a video once a month, I'm thinking, for the members only. It will not be on YouTube. You will not be able to watch it on YouTube. If I do it on YouTube, it will definitely be unlisted, so it's not available to the public per se, or I'll upload it onto my own personal streaming service that I'm starting to kind of ramp up now. And also, if you're a member or if you're an insider, it's kind of cool. You can even, when you log in, it's not through YouTube, so you can watch the videos without being tracked or traced, right? So it's something new I'm kind of doing because to me, privacy is really important. I'm kind of sick of where this big tech crap is going. And what else is there? Oh yeah, the price. If you want to join as an insider, it's $9.99 a month or $69 for the year, $69.99 to be exact. And again, even if you don't want to join, it's totally cool. You can just be a member, and also all the discussions now on the website are for members only, free or paid. So public can read, only members can then engage, right? So I'm really trying to create this tribe because I think tarot is something that is a little bit out of control on social media per se. So I'm trying to add more value that I really can't do easily on YouTube or wherever else, or Facebook or Instagram, pick your poison. And I'm really trying to really ramp up this site. Now, with that being said, on the YouTube side, you're all aware because you watch this right now on my Tarot with a Twist channel. This channel was kind of all over the place, right? I was doing zodiac readings. Some people were saying I don't really like those. I was doing a couple pick cards here and there where they're full reads, not just a pick a card. It was like, spirit guides type of stuff, because I think that the spirits do help us and guide us along our messages. It's nice to just be able to, hear what they got to say and kind of help guide us along the way, right? I mean, we all need a little guidance. I like to help channel that to you and share the energy that I'm seeing and, give you guys good insights for the week ahead or whatever. So with that being said, I'm going to move those type of readings, like the astrology stuff, where the, on the zodiac sign reading type of thing, and the pick a card, or like just these single kind of generic type of reads, over to my new channel. It's called Just Life Tarot. And I'll put the link below so you can go click on it if you want to. So if you want those type of readings more so than the ones I do here, join there as well. Or if you want them both, just join both. I'm going to try to start separating them out. I haven't separated it yet, but I'm planning on doing that. I'm going into that direction here real soon. I've already kind of started with 3 videos. One's coming up tomorrow, but this channel here, Tarot with Twist, will continue on the Marseille path, continue on the geopolitical type of stuff, continue more on the deep dives, right? Where I blend and I mix and match different patterns or different systems with one reading. The other channel is going to try to stay focused on one system per reading. I'll still do Lenormand, I'll still do tarot over there, but you probably won't see much Marseille. I'm debating, but the Marseille is going to be more on this channel with the Rider-Waite, with the Lenormand, Oracle, and so forth. So here, it'll stay the same, but minus those other systems. And there'll be no tutorials over there. So if you want to go into the deeper dive, this is the channel. If you want just more of the astrology type of readings, which are important to you, head over there. And if you want anything else, let me know. So again, in the comments below, let me know what you guys want, because without that, then I'm just kind of guessing. I want to make sure that I give you the best service I can with my channels. And so you got to tell me what it is you like. I'm not a mind reader. I'm a tarot reader. I read energy. So that's two different things, right? Now, with that being said, I'm going to take the camera off my face here and go to the cards here below on the desk, because I want to kind of go over something with y'all. And what that is so many times when people read cards, they get so caught up in the meaning that was given to us from whomever, right? And if you start kind of researching back with the Marseille or even the Lenormand, what you're going to find is those keywords really didn't exist. Now, there were some words given with the publishers got involved, especially with the Lenormand. Like they'll say the 2 clover is about good luck, right? Or the 4 is the house, or the 5 is the bear. That's finances, or 15 is the bear. That's finances, or whatever, right? Or it's about money. But the problem with that is it's not what it's really about, because when this whole system came about, it was for the common people, right? And so they had to have images that anybody can understand, not just the educated or those in the occult. That's not what it was really about. And unfortunately, when America got involved, the Americans got involved, they twisted around and started about marketing, making money, and so forth. And now I do know that, again, in the French traditions and German traditions, there are some key words, but it's not like it is today. So what I'm going to show you here is how to read something without the keywords. Okay, and I'm also going to probably change the way I start reading the Rider-Waite as well. So I'm going to show these 2 examples pretty quick, because I want to have more than just an update for you, right? So let me turn the camera off, and then we'll go to the cards. All right, here we go. Give me 1 second. All right, so where do I begin? Let's begin with here, the Lenormand. All right, so I was kind of like playing around earlier today, and I was asking myself, I want some advice for me, right? Or if I was, not for me per se, but if I was going to like give advice to somebody else, what would that be? It's more like trying it out without the keywords. But if you did use a keyword, you say, well, this is the house, and it's about home, it's about stability, right? And then you see the bear, oh, that's finances, right? That's the key word. So it's finances for your home, and then you have some good luck, right? Okay, whatever. I mean, that's one way of reading it. And then you're saying that the finances will be a little bit lucky and that you'll have then stability around your home. Now, I always read the center card as a theme. But instead, let's flip the switch here. When you see a house, what do you see? What is the function of a house? Well, it's a place where you live, right? Or maybe it could be your house. Your house is in order. Maybe a place you do business, right? So when you think about that, now we're going to shift this to be like, it's something you have to get in order. It's something you have to bring in stability to, right? It's like your base camp. It's like the family, the inner circle, or your core business. So that's how I'm now reading that card versus just being like your house. Now with the bear, I'm looking at this like, okay, well, take away the finances. What's the bear's function? Well, a bear's function is to protect, is to be a guardian to his cubs, is for territorial power, right? And so because it's in front of the house, is saying that you need to protect your house. You need to put everything you have into your power to lock this down, whatever this might be, okay? And then you look at the clover, okay, well then how? Like, what is it you got to protect for? Well, it's not good luck. That makes absolutely 0 sense, right? And so even the card says flowers surrounded in the clover means happiness, surmount over grief, bits of luck and fortune await. You have the potential to make life great. That's hogwash, because the clover also has a deep meaning where the clover was a flower or a thing that was grown that would actually feed the cattle. So it's more than just, good luck. It was something that actually was used, also helps to enrich the soil, right? So things can grow. So there can be abundance of whatever was underneath it, okay? So when you think about it like that, you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, then the house is for what? It's for growth, right? It's for a little bit of growth and new opportunities are going to open up. So that's why the house is necessary. That's why the protection is needed, so the house can focus on the affairs in order to help it grow a little bit more, maybe help the business grow. So it kind of ties back into finance, but finance is not the primary goal anymore. And then when you want to flank it or mirror it, you're saying that the bear's first priority is to protect the house so that nothing can get in your way from the house growing. So the secondary thing for the bear is to protect also this new growth, this new thing that needs to accumulate. It also shows that the person or the thing in this house is now taking care of business. They're no longer letting things slip by the wayside. All right. So by shifting the reading over to the actual function of what that is, it changes it entirely. Even if you had, I don't know, another card like clouds, right? So you said, well, the clouds, what are clouds? Well, clouds can also diffuse the light so it's not so bright. So you can say, well, then now, rather than confusion or intuition or anything like that, you can say, well, these clouds are here to protect this new growth from basically being cooked under the direct sunlight. Okay. So now that's no longer here being cooked under the direct sunlight. It has a better chance of growing, you see? And so that's why the clouds are saying. So saying to also like cover it somehow to protect it so it will grow. So that means that something could be at play to try to get it in here to kill it off. So you need to kind of bring a cloud cover, right? Some way to protect it from the elements or protect it from outside actors, right? And so now the bear is being used to help bring that cover in. See, I'm mirroring again, right? If you had another card, fish, it's money. No, it's flow, right? Because fish are abundant. They're also food supplies. So they actually can be used for trade or for commerce, right? So that's why they say, oh, it's money. Well, it's not money. It's fish, okay? I can eat them. But the cloud cover also then allows this flow of these fish, right, to not get burned up either. Because when you ever go fishing before in the past or whenever, you even go fishing whenever, right? If you've ever gone fishing before, you usually try to go in shaded areas because in the direct sun, the fish aren't going to be there. So the cloud cover allows for the growth and abundance. And so now you're saying that the bear, right, has to protect your supply chain. Okay. How? By putting a cover over it so people can't really see through it. It's kind of like obscuring it so that this clover now in the center can actually start to really grow and opportunities can start to blossom. So that is one way to read it by not getting caught up in the actual key words all the time. Okay. Then I said to myself, what if I try this same thing with the Rider-Waite? I said, okay, well, usually I would read Rider-Waite with positions, where I'm saying like, this is the theme. This is what's to be mindful of or what could be blocking you. And this is the advice. But instead I said, no, let's just flip it. So the first card that came up was the Five of Pentacles. And I said, okay, well, what's the actual function of that card? Not so much, what does it mean? Right? Like, what are they doing? Well, you see two people and they're walking, right? And so these are flipped around. It was this direction here when I did the test around with it. You're seeing these two people looking down, right? So they're kind of feeling defeated. So here they are walking along in the snow where it's cold. Well, they'll get frostbite. And they just feel like their luck is completely ran out. And I pulled this card later, so I'll put it down. Their luck just has run out and there's just nothing left for them. They feel like no matter what they do, things are just total crap. But yet, what they don't realize is that the light is right there. All they have to really do is enter in that building to get the warmth and to get the security they need rather than being out here alone in the elements and always fighting it. But they won't because ego is involved. And I said to myself, well, why are they feeling like that? Because of this card here, the Six of Wands. They keep remembering how great it was at one point in time for them. They keep remembering how people kind of like worship them in a sense, and something happened to where they lost it all. They lost everything. And because of that, they feel like life is just meandering around in circles because they just refuse to look up. They refuse to see that there is more to life than just material gain. And so rather than I was seeking, the path forward on the ground, you see how this guy's looking up, this guy's looking down. They're just trying to always like look at what's in front of them rather than looking up, meditation, spirit, divine, looking up to break free. They can't because their mind is stuck here in the past on the things that they had at one point in time. And so they would just look up and they could see the hope. They could see the faith. They could see the stars. And what's funny too is like the stars means a pentacle, I know, but stars kind of like faith, hope, and love and so forth like that. They could just look up for a minute, then maybe then they could change their trajectory, right? And realize that the past is dead and the future relies on hope and only hope and nothing else. Because when I look at the star card, for example, it's almost like this person's like pouring water on earth and in the water and in this pool, which is balancing it out, and it's also running back in. So whatever lands in the land goes back into the water, right? So it's kind of like a continual cycle. They pick up, they dump in, they pick up, they dump in, but the water never runs out because there's always more there. So they'll have emotional fulfillment. They can just realize that hope is in front of them, faith is in front of them, that things will be okay if they just look up and address it. And this person here's going to the church is saying, look, please look at me because I have the well of life. I have the water for you to drink. You just got to accept it and realize the path is over. And then I said to myself, okay, well, what's kind of keeping them there? Let's clarify that. Well, it's their mind. It's like they just can't, they're kind of like in this mental thing of self-sabotage, and they have to realize that they don't have to sneak away. They don't have to run away from the problem. They just got to face it and run with it. Now, this is different than a Marseille, and I know it's kind of like the Rider-Waite way of reading it, but I'm just trying to show you how to try to strip away the meanings, right? And just look at the cards for what they are and ignore the reverse. Just look at this. This is the Seven of Swords. And remember, the swords is about the mind. It's about the mind. This is about the earth, and this is about the desire, right? And the problem is, since we're trying to say, I want a little more concrete information on this card, the Seven of Swords comes up, and that's the mental card. And it's heavy. It's a 7. It's all about their truth is skewed. Because when you look at 7 too, 7 is also the shadow side is about truth hidden. And so they're not facing reality. They refuse to face reality because if they face reality, they would go in there into this thing and be happy and be warm and then get on with it. But they won't. They want to basically wallow in their misery like everybody else does. They want to blame somebody else, and they don't want to, and they want to keep looking at the past like, well, I had this. Well, this is gone. Look to the future where hope is, right? Where the North Star is. Go towards that. Look up, and then you're going to see that things are going to be okay. Even the past is saying, look, I'm looking where? Look at the line. Right to there. The past is looking to the future, and it knows that this is over. But they're too stubborn to realize it. So that's what I want to share with you on a quick little tutorial on how you can read these cards, where it's more about looking at it for the actual function and not so much of the key words, right? Again, I wasn't planning on pulling these extra cards. I just threw them in there, so I had no idea what was coming up because these were the ones I actually were looking at when I first started. But as you can see, it changes the way you read because it's no longer like confusion. It's no longer about money. You know, it's about flow. Fish is all about flow, right? It's about flow. It's about abundance. It's about migration patterns in a sense too, because fish can migrate. And so when you look at the cards, you also have to have a question in mind. So it's a lot of times too, people will just pull cards out of a question. It's kind of hard because the question changes the context of the actual reading. So if you're saying like, does this person love me? Let's just throw it out there, right? I get a fish card, right? Well, they want to move with you. They want to flow with you. See, it's not fun. There's no money here. It's a question about relationships. And they want to, really meet you and be with you, but you also have to move with them. So they definitely want to flow. And look at the card here. You have a King of Diamonds, right? So also you could think like, well, they also want to make sure that you're both kind of stable financially. Now I could throw finance in there because I can use a diamond if I wanted to. So let's say I was confused, then I could throw in the little pip up here and add that to the reading. But if I didn't want to use that, then I'm just saying like, yeah, they want to flow with me. But I said, okay, well, let's change it to, will I meet new people when I move? Fish comes up again. Well, yeah, you will if you get out there and engage with them, right? Because they're all over the city. They're all over the place. You just got to kind of step into the day-to-day life with them and swim with the fishes, right? And that just means I'm not talking about like the mafia swim with the fishes. I'm talking about just like, just be part of the community, flow with it, right? Let things go. Again, no finances. And if you do that, then you'll have abundance. You'll start meeting people and start having a better time, right? And then you had the clouds. Well, the clouds now, yeah, but the clouds means that you have to kind of also hide yourself a little bit. Don't show everything. So don't let all your light shine at one time until they get to know who you are. So you can then, so when you start flowing with them, right, what happens then? When you start flowing with them, then you can then let them see who you are and let the clouds lift and let the sun shine through on this side, right? So you see how just that there kind of changes the way you read these cards, because back in the day when people were common, they didn't have that knowledge. They saw symbols, right? Even like the scythe. Where's that at? The scythe, right? Uh, okay. Even a stork, right? A stork is all about migration, right? This animal can come back. It also moves, it makes changes, it has a migratory patterns, right? That's a stork too. So that's the other aspect of it. So what you can do too is like go to your dictionary or whatever and look up what this thing actually does. And this is a stork. What does a stork do? People say, well, it brings baby. Well, no, it's also about change. It's about movement. It's about migration patterns. It's about maybe you have to go somewhere and then come back, right? So that could be one way of looking at the stork, you know? Um, Again, I'm just throwing these out there real quick. The scythe in this picture here, right? You see something. Well, it's about, yeah, it's also about clearing a path, right? So let's say you had a field of corn or a field of whatever. This is going to clear the path for you. It's going to cut it down and get rid of all the things that are in your way. That's the other way of looking at it too. So not just like cutting per se. It could be clearing. It could be harvesting your crops. So maybe you have a business like, will my business grow? Yeah, if you start cutting away all the dead weight, or you start removing it and you take what you have, all that thing that you have grown, and you harvest it, then now you can now expand your business because you made a clearing for new growth. See what I'm saying? It's just different ways of looking at it. Even the whip, right? The whip. Where's the whip at? Here. The whip, right? So repeated cycle. You say, well, no, it's also for correction, right? Because well, what's a whip for? Well, even in school, a teacher can give you drills. That's kind of like a whip, right? Over repetition, discipline, correction. It's not just pain all the time. And so I think that's one of the problems we have when we look at tarot in the community is like we get so caught up in like, this has to mean this. No, it actually doesn't have to mean that at all. That's how you want it to mean. Doesn't mean that's how I want it to mean, right? So again, if you're reading these cards with intuition as well, then sorry, but your keywords, you can kind of stuff them. Because as far as I'm concerned, who made them? Who made them up? Right away? Who the hell's he, right? Who's he to dictate how I look at this card, right? Because when you think about it too, these cards are really steeped in religion, which is fine. I'm very spiritual myself. I'm not caught up in man-made religion, but they have a lot of Christian symbology. So if you're not part of that tradition, then what? You can't read these cards? Sure you can, right? But you have to put your own meaning in it. Again, it goes back to what do you see in that card? I don't know. It's just people drive me crazy because they get so caught up in all this nonsense, where they're so just diehard and they want to say, well, then you can't be part of the community. Well, then F you. Whatever, dude. Then don't watch my stuff. Simple as that, right? It just frustrates me when I see people are so arrogant, We're here to help each other out and to teach each other what we know so we can be better at this thing, right? And again, we're in 2026 and all these key words were written when? Yeah, exactly, a long time ago. So today, they mean something different than what they did when they were first created, but the image is still the image. That's the only thing that hasn't changed. A ring is a commitment, right? A ring's a commitment. Commitment to what? Commitment to what? That's something you have to figure out, A garden was a social setting, okay? So that's where you would go and maybe entertain. Maybe it's a wedding. Could be a wedding card, right? It's a garden. People do weddings there. So what's a garden used for? Entertainment, gatherings, social gatherings. See, so even in 2026, I can still use that, but I wouldn't use a keyword. I'm using what it means, a crossroads, okay? I have to make a choice. I'm kind of stuck in the middle. It's like a stalemate, to a sword type of vibe, right? And so forth. But again, I would really urge you when you're doing your readings to not get caught up in the keywords and just really focus more on like, what do you see? Make the keywords secondary. You don't need a list of keywords. What do you see? And also make sure you have a question. Without a question, this is the problem why people get so goddamn confused, excuse my language, is that they're so scared. I've had people say to me, well, I'm afraid to, do this because it's just so confused. I have to learn everything. You ain't gonna learn anything. What do you see in the picture? I'm keep driving that point until you get sick of hearing me say it. What do you see in the picture? Because once you start seeing the picture and what the function of that is, then guess what? Things are opened up, because the crossroad makes you make a choice. You have to make a choice. You can't just, you can stand there, then you're going to die, right? You're just going to be completely stagnant. You're not going to do anything else. So it's all about making a decision on which path you want to move forward. And if you look at the card too, what do you see? What do you see? What do you see in that card? Horses. So they're trying to move some products, move their business forward. That could be a money card more so than the fish. You see what I'm saying? And look at that too. This is a pentacle at the very top, the Queen of Pentacles. What does she do? She's nurturing, right? Very wise. She's writing, so she's very eloquent. This pip in this card. So again, start looking at the cards for what they are and not what the keywords means, because every deck is different. And so when you start picking different decks too, I have like, I think 10 Lenormand decks, and I love them so much, but they're all read differently because the picture is different. So it has a different feel and meaning to it. Same as the Rider-Waite stuff, right? When you look at that, the pictures are different, so they don't mean the same thing, because the artist has something in their mind when they drew that picture, right? And so it doesn't have the traditional feel to it, or the same, even though they say, well, the Five of Pentacles is all about, things aren't going well for you. Okay, fine. But if the picture is done differently, then guess what? It means something different, doesn't it? Because that's how they interpreted it. And that's why I love Marseille so much, because the Marseille decks are the same. It's all about geometry, shape, and pattern recognition. And the higher the number, the heavier that weight becomes in that element. Now I also read Marseille more like the Lenormand. Other people don't. I also try to start all my readings on the center card. Other people don't. And that's something you got to do. So anyway, I want to hear from you. How do you like reading the cards? Do you like the keywords? Do you like kind of doing your own thing like I'm talking about here? What's important to you? Also, one last note here before I drop. If there's anything you would like to see more from me, either on the new channel or this channel, you just gotta let me know in the comments below. I'm trying to make the Tarot with a Twist channel, more like this type of stuff. I do like doing geopolitical stuff, so if you don't like that, well, go to the other channel too, because that won't have that in there. This is gonna be more of that Last Ask the Cards type of a vibe. It's gonna have more of that. The Marseille, reading the Marseille versus Rider-Waite, Lenormand. I'll have that type of stuff that you've seen before, just minus the zodiac stuff and pick a card stuff and general sort of kind of reads. I don't know. Maybe I'll do someone here if you would like me to. But if I do them here, there'll be multiple systems. It will not just be one system. It'll be maybe an Oracle mixed with Lenormand, mixed with the Rider-Waite or Marseille, and that would be like a reading collective, but using the different systems to get the energy for the entire reading. Okay. Anyway, y'all, that's all I have. It's more of a ramble and a rant than anything else, but you know what? Why not? Anyway, until next time, I really want to see everyone in my next video. All right. See y'all. Bye.